everybody. My name is Kathy Stefik, and I'm with the Global Energy Management Program. We're here today to tell you a little bit more about the program, and specifically for you to learn more about the program from the people who went through it, our alumni. We've got a great group of speakers lined up for you all today, and we're really excited that you can join us and that you're interested in the GEM program. What I'd like to be able to do is go through the agenda of what you can expect during today's webinar and understand what you're going to learn about. So first and foremost, we're going to go through just a brief overview of the GEM program. Everybody is at a different point in knowing about the program. Some of you I've already spoken with. Other people are just learning about the program for the first time. I want to go through the enrollment options and then go through and introduce our speakers and start getting into the engaging part of this webinar. And that includes asking them questions and also having you all ask your questions and really making it a discussion between all of us here. So let's go ahead and get started. So why GEM? What I like to do always is give people an overview of the program and point out our highlights, what we feel is really our competitive advantage, and why we have nearly 500 students and alumni now worldwide in the program. A lot of these bullet points that you see here are the main reasons why they've chosen to enroll in the GEM program and chosen it as their graduate degree. So first and foremost is the accessibility of the degree. The degree is delivered in a hybrid online format that allows you to work anywhere in the world while going back to school. And that's really important for our student base because the GEM program, being an all energy business degree, attracts students and alumni, as I mentioned, from around the world. And it's really important that they can still do this program while maintaining their job. What that hybrid online format means is that you have the benefits of both worlds, the benefits of in-person learning as well as online learning. For the in-person, what you can expect is that you have 4 days at the beginning of every quarter where you have in-person classroom time. They're pretty intense days, as our alumni can attest to, but you do make it through. And that's over an extended weekend. So it's Friday through Monday, which means that you're not missing a lot of time from work. After that Monday class is over, the remainder of the quarter is done completely online. And it's asynchronous, which means that you do it at a time that's convenient for you. Another great thing about the GEM program are our faculty. Our faculty are energy practitioners who have experience in the industry. That really translates to our students because what they end up doing is bringing that academic theory into a real world curriculum. And it really allows you to use what you've learned in the classroom to your job the next day. For most people, the program is completed in just 18 months. That means that you're taking 2 courses per quarter. And quarters are every January, April, July, and October. We're ranked 3rd by Heart Energy. And also we have lifelong learning. All of our alumni are welcome to come back and audit our classes. So if you want to dust off your finance skills, or if you want to sit in on our renewable energy course as an alumni, you have access to do that. In addition, one of the things that we do that most programs that are similar to GEM do not have is an executive in residence. This executive in residence is a very unique program because what we do is we bring in executives from the energy industry. We rotate who that executive is, and we make sure that we rotate them by sector. So we really make sure we cover all key energy sectors. And that executive will lecture in class, but in addition to that, they meet with students. And that is incredibly, incredibly important because that's a really good way to hone your executive presence, but also to gain insight and advice from people who've been very successful throughout their careers and have decades long of experience. As I just mentioned earlier, we have about 500 students and alumni worldwide. We're very proud of that fact. We've been in existence since 2009 when we had our first cohort of students. And most importantly, we are an all energy program. And you will see that later on in our webinar by the scope of our alumni and the sectors that they represent. Lastly, we know that going back to graduate school is a big decision and not everybody is ready to jump into a full degree. So we do offer different enrollment pathways, and those pathways I'd like to go over with you right now. So what pathway is right for you? We offer a lot of different options for professional development. Here, the professional development that you see over here on your screen, that's really 1 or 2 day classes. You don't earn graduate school credit, and they're in a very specific niche. If you want more information on those particular programs, feel free to email me after this webinar, and I'm happy to talk with you and send you more information about them. The 2 main programs that we're going to talk about, and there are 2 main enrollment pathways, are our Master of Science degree and also an executive education pathway. Both of these are 4-credit pathways that allow you to start earning graduate credits. One allows you to just start working immediately on the master's degree. The other, as I said, is either a stair step into the master's degree or just allows you to really tailor specific industry knowledge that you're looking for. So let me first touch base about the executive education piece. So we offer 3 different types of 4-credit certificate programs. One's a general global energy management certificate program. This is our newest addition to this lineup, and it allows you to take any 3 GEM courses that we offer in our degree program and tailor them to your specific professional development needs and interests. The opportunity to do this is really fantastic because everybody has specific interests and really wants to be able to maybe learn more about renewable energy or really hone their finance skills. And that certificate allows you to do that. If you're interested in honing your business acumen and those hard business skills, then you may be interested in the financial management certificate, which includes courses in economics, accounting, finance, and advanced finance. The other certificate is a leadership certificate. So if you've been in your career for a while, but really need to hone your leadership skills, building collaboration, building teams, you're suddenly got a promotion and really need some additional professional development area, that may be the track for you. With each of these certificates, to complete the certificate, you need to take 3 GEM courses, as I mentioned earlier. And those 3 courses can be completed at your own pace. You're in class with other GEM students, and you have the same expectations as other GEM students. You will have to have a bachelor's degree. You will need to be in class for those first 4 days, and then you do all of the work online. What ends up happening, quite honestly, is most people who are enrolled as a certificate student end up liking what they experience and what they're learning and decide to enroll in the full degree program. And so as you're going through the certificate program, if at any point you say, you know what, I am ready for graduate school and I am ready to pursue my master's degree, we'll roll any completed credits into your graduate degree versus counting them towards your certificate. And so the application process for this, as you can probably guess, is not quite as extensive because it is a stair step into graduate school. There's an online application. We need unofficial transcripts from your degree granting institution, a statement of purpose, and then also a current resume. So very easy. Again, you can contact me for more information. The next quarter will be starting on Friday, October 8th. So if you are interested in this pathway and you want to get started right away, we'll need your applications in by Friday, this coming Friday the 24th. So again, reach out to me if you have questions. The other pathway, and this is the pathway we're really going to concentrate on today, and our alumni have gone through, is our MS degree program. The MS degree program is a full 36 credit hour program. As I mentioned, it takes 18 months typically to complete. And as you can see here, the application requirements are a little bit more involved. They may require a GMAT depending on your years of experience. Resume, we need official transcripts from any college or institution that you've gone through. And then there's an online application with 2 essays. We typically offer 2 main start dates for our degree program. Those are typically in July and in January. Because we're working with working professionals who sometimes through work obligations or family obligations cannot start on one of those 2 dates, we do offer off-term start dates, again in April and October. So there are various entry points along the way. One course I want to highlight because it's actually been quite popular and we've got a lot of people actually signed up for it, is coming up in this October. And that is one of our elective courses that our degree students will be taking, and it's commercialization management and leadership of renewable energy. Jenny Brett, who is a GEM alum from cohort 3, she will be teaching the course. She works RES in Boulder, wind developer. And she's been teaching the course for us for quite some time. She's also a member of our advisory council. This is a fantastic course if you really want to take a deep dive into the world of renewable energy. The course is really going to simulate a project that going from renewable energy throughout the whole journey from start to commercialization and what that's like and all the pieces that go into that particular project. Garrett, probably something you can speak of quite a bit since that is your area of expertise as well. It's hybrid online, so the first 4 days will be will be in person. This October we're going to do it live via Zoom just to be cautious. And the space is limited. The cost of the course is $4,500, especially if you're coming in and taking it as a certificate student. And that is something that can, again, be started and we can get you in for Friday the 8th. Just let me know and reach out to me. We're starting to close out the seats. So again, it's really important that you reach out to me soon. So with that, as I mentioned, is a general overview of the GEM program. What I'd like to do now is go through, I will briefly say hello to our speakers and let you know who we have here. And then each of them are going to really go into a much deeper introduction of themselves, their background, what cohort they were a part of, when they graduated, and then why they specifically chose the GEM program. From there, I'm going to go in and ask specific questions, but I really encourage all of you who are joining us today to also ask your questions to the speakers. This is really your time and your opportunity to engage with 4 different people from different sectors and really get an understanding of their experience in the program. And I promise you they will give you candid answers, which is really important. We want to make sure that we showcase the program and you understand everything that the program is about. So first with us, we have Jessica Davey. We have Matt Luke, who is here from Houston, Camille Littlefield, and also Garrett Peterson. Thank you, all of you, for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedule. Jessica, I would love to start with you. If you can give everybody who is watching your background and introduce yourself, that would be fantastic.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Yeah, my name is Jessica Davey. I'm located here in Denver, and I am, like my title says there, VP of Land and a member of the board of directors at Desert Mountain Energy Corp. So I was in cohort 17, finished in 2018, 3 years ago. It's gone by fast. And really, I've had a very varied experience since I finished the GEM program. I went back to school to finish my degree in geology in my 30s. and graduated with that in 2016, right as there were absolutely no opportunities for geologists really in any industry, but I really wanted to work in oil and gas. So the GEM program really was enticing to me because my background before I went back to school was in small business management. And so it really tied the two worlds together for me and got me to kind of that next level where I was, I didn't have to get an entry level job as a geologist. I was able to jump into higher roles. So it was really advantageous for me.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. And why did you choose the GEM program? I mean, you talked about that.
Yeah.
Specifically, what was the one thing that really called out to you about the GEM itself?
Well, I really, I kind of toyed around with getting a technical master's degree to further my career in geology. But, at the end of the day, I really love the business aspect of things. And so that was what swayed me into the program.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Matt, I'm going to have you come up next. Matt Luke from Houston.
Yeah, so I was cohort 14, graduated in end of 2015. Kathy, I don't know if you remember, but you actually talked me into starting one full semester early, which I really do appreciate.
Well, go ahead.
One for the timing, but two for the people.
Yeah.
So I actually started on the upstream oil and gas side of the industry, doing engineering on the technical aspects of stuff, and personally had moved into sales management in that world. And the 2013, 2014, I'd been through one or two kind of downturns and saw the writing on the wall. And I was young enough in my career, I didn't want to be the guy to turn off the lights, right? So I personally wanted to move into renewables, but I'd also been toying with the idea of just an MBA to see where that took me. And to me, this program it's a good combination of MBA style learning, the courses and what you're going to take out of it, but it's also kind of specific to energy. So for me, it was a good opportunity to get both sides that I wanted. It would give me a leg to get out of oil and gas, but also to get the education I want. So where I'm at now, I've gone back to the technical side of the industry. So I work for a company called Neste. We're the world's largest producer of renewable road transportation diesel fuel and renewable jet fuel. So I kind of manage all of our technical stuff here in North America for that industry.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Matt. And Camille, we'll have you go next. Oh, I think you're still on mute.
Gotcha.
There we go.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. So my name is Camille. I'm based here in Denver. I work for AMP Energy. It's a solar and battery storage developer. I graduated in December 2020, so pretty recently in cohort 21 or COVID cohort. And I'm a licensed professional engineer. I did environmental consulting for about 6 years and just wanted something different to go to the next level. I was kind of doing the same thing every day. And then I came across a presentation at a KOGA meeting by Glenn and just kind of was taken with the GEM program. And the more I learned about it, the more I felt like this is absolutely the program for me. So I graduated in December, got a job with AMP, starting in governance research, and then transitioned in May to the interconnection role. So I work with utilities to connect to the grid.
That's fantastic. Thanks. Thank you so much. And Garrett, we're going to save you best for last.
I don't know about that. Some good company here.
I know.
My name's Garrett Peterson. I believe I was in cohort 13, but Matt threw me off when he said 14. I graduated in 2016. So somewhere in there, it's been about 5 years. Right now, I lead development for Pivot Energy. We are a renewable energy developer that focuses on distributed generation and utility scale solar development. And I cover the US for them. That's everything from land origination all the way to basically having a project financed and ready to be built. So a lot of different aspects of project development within that. I've been in renewable energy for 13 years now and energy in total for 15. And, the reason I chose the GEM program was I was at a point in my career where I felt like I had hit a ceiling, and all the positions that I looked at in terms of open hires seemed to have like a graduate degree preferred. And then when I looked at companies that I thought about joining and I'd see somebody, I'd look at them on LinkedIn and they had a graduate degree. So it became more and more clear that it was something that I really wanted, or I needed to do if I wanted to accelerate my career. And I chose the GEM program in part because I was based in Denver. And even though it's relatively easy to travel in for the cohort weekends, it was just easier for me to be here. But it was also a continuation of my undergrad degree from environmental science and biology, and it added on to everything that I was doing in the energy industry. And I think that was the big defining thing, is that I wanted to stay in the energy industry. So call it a standard MBA didn't make sense. And this fit what I was doing far better.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Garrett. So what I'd like to do is dive into some of the questions. As I mentioned, these are the questions that we most frequently get asked by prospective students. So I would ask our alumni to put your hats back on and remember when you were considering the program and sort of the decision-making process you went through and you know what you were thinking about at the time. That one of the biggest questions people have is, how am I going to do this and balance it with my family obligations, with work obligations? Because again, the people we attract, and as you can see from our panelists here, are doing really well in their career, which means they're really, really busy and they've got a lot of job demands on them. And they want to make sure that they can do this program and do it well. So Jessica, can you share with us how you specifically balanced work and school and family life? And then if anybody else or any of our other panelists would like to chime in, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, sure. So I think, I was kind of, starting out with the GEM program in an opposite direction than a lot of people. I went from being a full-time student to being a student again. So I was already in student mode, which was really helpful. And I was only working very part-time. And but I do have a family. I have my daughter now is 9 years old. And so it was challenging, trying to find, even for the long weekends, childcare and things like that. And then 3 months after I started the program, about 3 months, I started a full-time job with a petroleum consulting firm. So then I was really busy. But at that point, I had, 14 or 15 months left in the program. And so having that, really short time frame is what kept me going and focused. Being able to see, the light at the end of the tunnel was really helpful.
That's fantastic. Any tips, any hacks of surviving all of that? Good time management skills,
Yep. Time management, I kept a very meticulous calendar with all of the deadlines and things like that so that I wouldn't fall behind. But, I'm a list person and the calendar person, so that was helpful for me.
And one of the things we always hear from students in the program is they rely on each other too for support. So if anybody else would like to comment on that question about how to balance the GEM program with a busy home and life schedule.
I could jump in.
That would be great, Matt.
I'm going to kind of combine it with something else too. For me, because I was traveling a lot with the role that I went to, I started a new role right when I started the program. So I had kind of a double whammy of weight to deal with. But I was doing a lot of traveling. So for me, it was I had airplane time and hotel time. That was kind of a quiet time for me to do the work, which actually worked really well to my advantage. So then when I came home on the weekends, I did actually get some family time. So for anyone that does travel a lot, it's not necessarily a bad thing that you're busy during the week, because it does block out family time right on the weekends. I mean, 18 months is tough. I mean, it's short, I guess, for a program. It's not tough necessarily, short, but it's definitely manageable. There's enough people that have gone through to show that it is very possible, and you get a lot out of it.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much. So as I mentioned, just briefly in this one question, we always hear about the support that you get from your classmates because everybody's sort of in this together. And the GEM program is a cohort-based program. So Camille, I'll first go to you since you just graduated last year. Did you develop strong relationships with members of your cohort? We get this question a lot because of the hybrid online format.
Yeah, I absolutely did. I think that cohort weekend really lends itself to getting to know your classmates in person. Halfway through the program, we weren't able to meet in person anymore, but we actually, it really wasn't an issue because, you know, Zoom and technology is just so great right now. It's really helped, especially working remotely. But yeah, I think the group project structure, even more maybe than meeting in person, is what contributed to really getting to know my classmates and relying on them. And some of them have absolutely restored my faith in humanity.
That's great to know. That's great. Matt, how about you?
I think it was awesome. I think all the people really did, like Camille said, they kind of make the program. So you come in for cohort weekend and you're going to go through the cohort with basically the same group of people. And then maybe from each quarter to quarter, you'll mix up who you work with, but you get to see the same people every time you go. So there's kind of a light at the end of the tunnel for each course. It's like, I get to go back and see these people again. But at the same time, as you're starting each course, you get to be there with the people for these 3 or 4 days, and you get all day in the class, and then at evening, you go out and have a drink, go out and get some dinner, do whatever. So you get kind of both sides of both sides of humanity there. It does kind of restore your faith. There are good people out there that are going to help you through this.
Yeah.
For me, since Camille mentioned the COVID thing on her side, I finished before the COVID stuff. So when I started working remotely a year and a half ago, totally fine with this. I'm really great at online projects now where you can't meet in person. There's some benefits that came out of this.
That's great. That's great. Jessica or Garrett, anything else to add?
Well, I'll add, you brought up, Matt, the benefit of already having experience with, dealing with stuff online. The company that I was working for when we all had to go home due to COVID, I put together kind of a training manual for everybody on how to do online presentations and host meetings and, present yourself professionally and stuff. So it was a huge benefit.
That's great. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to hear.
I would say from the alumni perspective, I still have group text messages, going on with people that I graduated with. And the alumni are so spread out across the world, but we do have networking events. There's something that goes on in Denver. And then we also try to get together during cohort weekend. So you not only get attached to people within your cohort, but just the 6 degrees of separation, you get connected with more and more people. And, I've actually worked with a few graduates, kind of like partnership with companies on different projects that graduated in cohort 2, cohort 8, and we got connected through the alumni group. So there's an ongoing relationship with your cohort and other cohorts.
That's a really good point. Sorry, I'm gonna jump in one more time.
Please do.
Since finishing the program, my job takes me all over the country and world and stuff. I will go to certain cities and like, oh, hey, you want to grab dinner tonight? If I come back to Denver or go out to Florida or wherever else, there's someone I know there from the program. But also the networking doesn't really stop when the program stops. I won't name drop, but people in our program are really good at finance for my cohort. So for my wife's business, we were looking at a business opportunity. I got that person to help me analyze some financials on that. And I had that connection because of the program. Or, someone may reach out and say, hey, do you know someone at this company? I'm trying to apply for this role. Now we can make that connection. So it's not a graduate, separate ways type thing.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And I think that's both are fantastic points because again, I just had this conversation with someone who's deciding on what program to choose. And it's also that alumni base and why you go back to graduate school is to build that interconnectivity and that networking, especially within the industry as well. So let's talk a little bit about the course experience as well. And Garrett, I'll go to you first, especially, I know a lot of what you do at Pivot, but tell me about the translation from going and studying something in class to working the next day. What type of experience did you have? How did the GEM program influence your day-to-day work, as well as sort of the scope of your career?
Well, the GEM program was incredibly influential in the sense of it's developing you to become a more well-rounded person within a company. I think that's the biggest benefit, is that you are becoming basically more versatile and more able to speak the language of different people within the company that you work for, and potentially like externally. So in my day-to-day role, the first class I took was accounting, and then I have to be responsible for the P&L of a small business unit. And you understand how to look at that. You may be looking at some sort of M&A opportunity with a small company, and you get their financials. I don't have to be the expert on it, but I need to be able to speak to our accounting team as to maybe why it's worth looking at this company. And then you get into interaction with utilities, like Camille's very familiar with, where my team is doing 100 interconnection applications, a year. And I've got to understand why utilities function the way they do. And then we have a legal PPA with a third party. Well, what clauses do we need to put in there? What type of contract structure benefits us as a business? And those are all things that I've taken away. And then, I think one of the other questions is, what was your favorite course? And for me, it was the capstone course that really teaches you to put all this together. And when I have to make a presentation to our board of directors as to why I think we should potentially expand into a new region, or focus on a different type of, let's say battery storage, we should work on a portfolio there, or I have to make a presentation to an external big stakeholder group. All of those things that you learn in the GEM program are preparing you to do that and be able to speak the language of different groups within all those stakeholders. So I was able to take aspects of every single class and put it to work.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And I thought that was a very good point of, you don't necessarily need to be the expert, but you have to understand the situation, and you have to understand what questions to ask, and also speak the same language. And Jessica, how about you? With your perspective and your background, how have you been able to translate and use what you've used in the classroom to your job?
Here, I would, second, the capstone course was probably, the most important, and one that I was able to use immediately. In that class, I put together a strategic business plan for the petroleum consulting firm that I was working with, which ended up serving as the foundation for the due diligence when the company was acquired. So it was really valuable, and for me to be able to put together all the bits and pieces of the other courses into that, evaluation that I did on the company was huge. And I learned so much about the company and the industry and all of that. And I think overall, throughout the entire program, what I really gained that I was really able to put to use was just the confidence that I could take on a new role and have, the general foundation, and know, the language to speak, the questions to ask, where to go for resources and things like that.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you. So Garrett, you brought up a really good point, and everybody has their favorite. We always nominate a professor who wins an award at graduation, and what always surprises me is the finance professors actually won a few times. But I'd love to hear, Camille, what your favorite course was in the program and why.
Yeah, I think, well, I got to do the London trip, which was absolutely incredible. I don't know, if anyone gets the chance to do that course, I would say absolutely go for it and don't think about it. But I think besides the travel course, I would say the renewable energy, the commercialization of renewable energy taught by Jenny Brett that was highlighted earlier. You know, it was a really challenging course. It really forced me to think about how what is renewable development and what are the different pieces, and that's how I got into interconnection and working with the utilities. There are some tremendous challenges there, and I found that to be really interesting.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And Matt, how about you? What was your favorite course going through the program?
I enjoyed marketing because it's different to me, being an engineer, right? But I kind of have been exposed to it along the way and had done some of it, but it was just kind of reframing how you picture business from not a money, like bottom line aspect, but like public perception aspect and all that. But I think beyond that, my real favorite was the technical aspects course that Mon teaches. You know, at the time, being an engineer coming into this, I was expecting all business stuff, but that technical class, one, it kind of spoke to me. But two, the stuff I learned in there for my career now, as kind of a subject matter expert in renewable road transportation, you know, learning how to do a life cycle analysis for wind power or hydropower or all these other things. Turns out I do that a lot now. So there's things you don't necessarily think you're going to use that down the road, you're like, wow, I'm really glad I've got the foundation for that.
That's fantastic. And I'm going to ask you one more question. I'm going to pose this to all of you, all of the alumni. How important and how did it aid in your learning to have the faculty that the GEM program has and their background? How instrumental was that for you with your experience in the program?
For me, it was really big. And I can even think back to like my undergrad engineering days. There were certain professors who had been doing professing for 20 years. Yeah. But there were some who had come from industry, and you just learn differently from them, right? They're not teaching a book. They're teaching, hey, in my day-to-day job, I did this 6 months ago. Here's what the industry is doing right now, not how I learned it when I learned it. Right. It's always more relatable and it's more current. And I just feel like it sticks a lot better knowing that they're right there doing it with you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Jessica, Camille, or Garrett, do any of you want to comment on that too about the faculty?
Yeah, I would echo what Matt said. You know, what you have is faculty who are rooted in real world scenarios and what they're actually doing. Our accounting professor, Mr. Burkholder, was the CFO for Excel Energy, you know, one of the largest utilities in the US. And what is on paper and what happens in practice are two separate things, and being able to decipher that and really learn from that is incredibly important. And I think it brings a more real world feel to what's happening. You're not reading a textbook from 1970 and just kind of memorizing something. You're actually talking about real things that are happening in the world of energy, and they, you know, they do bring in real world events and things that have happened in the last month, the last year, and you're going to discuss and learn from that. So it's a much different viewpoint than what I would say is a standard education.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. Last question, because I want to be sensitive to everybody's time here, and we'll wrap up with some upcoming events as well. What was the most, and I'm going to have you each go in order from the order that you introduced yourself. So we'll start with Jessica, then Matt, Camille, and Garrett. What was the most valuable aspect of the GEM program to you?
Oh, it's a tough question because I've gotten so much out of the program, and I really, you know, I'll kind of reiterate what I said earlier about just really having the confidence in myself, you know, that I have the foundation to make, you know, big switches with my role. You know, I recently took on a totally different role for myself, you know, going from being a petroleum geologist to now being VP of land, which was a really scary jump for me. But, you know, knowing that I have a well-rounded understanding of the industry, and that I also have such a great network of, you know, now friends and acquaintances from the GEM program, I feel really solid in my new career. So
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
How about for you, Matt?
So I'm going to it's going to sound a little weird, go the other way. Garrett touched on something earlier that you're not going to come out an expert in anything, but you're going to have enough to at least know how to talk to someone about something. So for me, going into like the trading classes, looking at trading futures and things, like I work with some of our traders now. Before this program, the whole you don't know what you don't know. I would have walked in like, oh yeah, you just go trade some stuff and you make some money. And I was like, no, there is a lot that goes on there. So to me, it makes me more appreciative of everyone else in my company too and what they do. And it makes me realize the more you lean on other people, just like working in the cohort, right? The better you're going to be, the more you're going to learn. And so I think it kind of reframed me in how I see how I fit into a company. I think that with the knowledge really just makes it fit really well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Matt. And how about for you, Camille?
Yeah, I think for me, it was the perspectives of my classmates that made it so valuable, especially in kind of a polarizing time. It's really hard to talk to people and, get a very honest response. I really love engaging in like kind of difficult conversations, but you can't always do that because it's not always a safe place to do that. But the GEM program, that's what it's all about. You're having discussions every day on the discussion board, and just having my peers challenge my viewpoints, and trying to see them from their perspective really, formed a well-rounded, my own opinions on things.
Fantastic. And Garrett, for you?
Well, I've said it earlier and a few others have touched on it, but one of the most valuable things for me was just learning so many different aspects of the energy industry, that things that open your eyes as to what's actually going on and how our energy is constantly changing. And to stay informed on that and how companies operate, to me, was incredibly important. And on a career perspective, you finish the GEM program, you have something that sets you apart from a lot of other people in the industry. Not only do you have a master's degree, but you have one that is focused in energy, and it opens up so many career doors for you. And just being able to have that and really accelerate your career and have confidence in what you're doing has been incredibly valuable for me.
That's fantastic. And thank you. And those are all fantastic points. And I really appreciate your insights, because for all of you, again, these are the questions that we get asked most. And these are the biggest concerns that people have coming into the program. And we want to be able to be very transparent and having them understand the value and of the program and why people who've gone through the program have chosen the program. So thank you for your candid answers. Thank you for your time here. What I'd like to do now is I'm going to go back and share my screen and tell you about some upcoming events we have this fall coming up. We've got a class observation, and we've got another open house with members of our faculty as well. So just give me a second here. We'll share the screen again, and we'll go through. So first and foremost, before we get into our upcoming events, what are your next steps? The next step would be to call or schedule a meeting with me or send me an email. If you have any questions about what our alumni talked about today, want even more information about the program, I'm your main point of contact and would be happy to help you with that. Also, you can start on your application. As I mentioned, we've got start dates. The next main start date is coming up in January. So you can get your application in for the January cohort, or if you'd like to get started sooner with that renewable energy course specifically, you can get started in October, but reach out to me right away for those. As I mentioned, our next event is our class observation. I briefly touched on this during our webinar today. The first 4 days of the quarter are usually in person. Because of COVID, we are having this October quarter still be in person. I'm sorry, still be live, but it's going to be via Zoom. And that's to make sure that we keep everybody safe. Those are intense, long days, and we want to provide the best learning experience possible. So we are going to have virtual class observation for our classes, and I will be sending out an email shortly with the specific lectures and times that you can come in and observe a GEM lecture. It's a great way to experience the program. You'll have 4 different lectures to choose from. And most importantly, you can observe all 4. You don't have to make a choice. You can take the time to observe all 4. After that, coming up in November, we're going to have the same format, but we're going to have a faculty open house. And we are going to have the same discussions with our faculty and learn about their backgrounds and then how they approach teaching a class and why they're teaching for the GEM program. So we hope you can also join us for those. I would like to thank all of our panelists today. As you can see, we have a really impressive group with us. They come from all different sectors and backgrounds and are just fantastic people who, you know, we loved having in the program, and you'd have very similar people in your class. So thank you, Matt and Jessica, Camille and Garrett. We really appreciate you being here today with us. It's great to see you again too. All right, thank you all and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks.